Arnold Alois Schwarzenegger is an American film actor of Austrian origin who needs no introduction. He is also known as a bodybuilder and Republican politician. He gained fame for his lead role in the Terminator film series, as well as for his participation in films such as Conan the Barbarian, The Running Man, True Lies, Twins, Junior, and others. He is a 5-time Mr. Universe and 7-time Mr. Olympia title holder. In 2003, he became the 38th governor of the state of California. Arnold Schwarzenegger enjoys truly worldwide fame and love. He has won numerous sports, cinematic, and other awards. In 1987, the Hollywood Walk of Fame was adorned with his own star for his contribution to the development of cinema. In 2002, there was a plan to erect a monument for Terminator in the house where Arnold Schwarzenegger was born, but the actor himself asked for it not to be done. 9 years later, a Schwarzenegger museum was opened there. However, a monument to the actor was eventually erected, and its unveiling took place in October 2014, coinciding with the annual Arnold Classic Bodybuilding Festival in Columbus, Ohio. A rare insect found in Costa Rica was named after the actor Arnold Schwarzenegger. In honor of him, the computer graphics visualization program Arnold and the Arnold C programming language, which uses quotes from Schwarzenegger as commands, were also named. In April 2017, Schwarzenegger's environmental activism was recognized with the title of Commander of the Order of the Legion of Honor in France. Childhood and school years. Arnold Schwarzenegger was born on July 30th, 1947, in the village of Thal, near the city of Graz, in Austria, into the family of Gustav Schwarzenegger, 1907 to 1972, and Aurelia Schwarzenegger, née Jadrny, 1922 to 1998, who were Catholics. After the annexation of Austria in the hills, these are just some of his army accomplishments. Nevertheless, the determined young man continued to train every day, setting up a gym in the barracks. And in order not to stop training during marches, he made a homemade barbell out of whatever was at hand and kept it in a tank. Only in the army did Arnold start eating meat every day for the first time in his life, and together with constant training, this had a good effect. His muscle mass grew there quickly, and the size of his military uniform had to be increased every 3 months. During his military service, Arnold participated in his first international bodybuilding competition, the Mr. Europe contest, where he took first place among juniors. Unfortunately, he had to leave the barracks without permission in order to participate, and upon returning, he was immediately thrown into the stockade. However, just 1 week later, once news of his victory had reached the military leadership, he was released from punishment and rewarded with a 2-day leave. After being discharged from the army in 1966, Schwarzenegger decided not to return to his hometown and moved to Munich. Here he continued to pursue his favorite sport and made a living as a fitness club trainer. He also occasionally slept there because he simply didn't have enough money to rent a place to live. In the same year, Arnold made his first ever plane trip by flying to London for the Mr. Universe competition. He hoped to place 6th or 7th, but unexpectedly he became 2nd, losing only to the famous Chester Yorton. One of the judges of the competition, Charles Bennett, was so impressed with the promising young man that he wanted to become Arnold's personal trainer. Since the beginning athlete had no money at all, Bennett invited him to stay in his London apartment, squeezing his own family. Training now took place on an improved plan, and besides, Arnie, like a sponge, absorbed the English language. But most importantly, it was in the Bennett family that he first felt that he was important and interesting as a person to someone. The Bennett family provided me with what I needed so much. I was the only one in the world for them. And they understood that I needed their support, care, and love, Schwarzenegger fondly remembered. Living in this house, Arnold met his childhood idol, Reg Park, who became his friend and mentor. The trainings did their job. In the following year, 1967, Arnold Schwarzenegger won the title of Mr. Universe for the first time, becoming, at the age of 20, the youngest winner in the history of the competition. After that, he returned to Munich for a year, where he worked at a sports club and attended business management courses. In 1968, he returned to London again and became Mr. Universe for the second time.
Career as a bodybuilder in the USA. From childhood, the young man dreamed of moving to live in the USA, and a career as a bodybuilder gave him such an opportunity. The move took place in September 1968 when Arnold was 21 years old, and he chose California as his new place of residence. According to some reports, Schwarzenegger lived in the US as an illegal immigrant for a while because the visa he was originally given did not allow for long-term residency, and he did not obtain a new visa right away. However, this did not stop him from pursuing his passion and pursuing a career as a bodybuilder and weightlifter. He worked hard to learn the intricacies and secrets of the profession from his colleagues. And after any competition, he approached the judges and asked what he did wrong and what he could improve. In 1969, Arnold participated in the Mr. Olympia contest for the first time, but lost to three-time champion Sergio Oliva. However, the following year, he managed to win, and at the age of 23 became the youngest Mr. Olympia in the history of the competition. This record has not been broken to this day. Later, Schwarzenegger admitted that during this period he, like many athletes, used anabolic steroids, but as soon as he learned about their harm to health, he immediately stopped. Wins came in an uninterrupted streak, and Arnold won the title of Mr. Olympia 6 years in a row. During this time, he also won the title of Mr. Universe 4 times, and in the 1970 competition, Arnold managed to surpass his idol and mentor, Reg Park. In 1975, after another victory in the Mr. Olympia competition, Arnold Schwarzenegger announced the end of his professional athletic career. However, he went on to participate and win the Mr. Olympia once again in 1980, when he got into such great physical shape again for his role in the film Conan the Barbarian, that it would have been a shame not to take advantage of the opportunity. Schwarzenegger's film career. Arnold Schwarzenegger started acting in films in 1970, following the lead of many other famous bodybuilders, including his idols Reg Park and Steve Reeves. At first, directors were hesitant to hire him due to concerns such as his strong accent, overly bulky muscles which looked unnatural on screen, and the difficult-to-pronounce last name of the up-and-coming actor. Arnold's debut in film was the lead role in the movie Hercules in New York, 1970, and due to his accent, all of his characters' lines were dubbed by another actor, with the pseudonym Arnold Strong appearing in the credits and posters. Schwarzenegger later referred to this film as his least favorite work in the movie industry. In his second and third films, The Long Goodbye, 1973, and Stay Hungry, 1976, the issue of his accent did not arise because his character was deaf and mute, according to the script. Critics responded coolly to these works, calling Arnold a clumsy giant resembling an animal. The actor began actively working on improving his flaws. He took acting and speech lessons and diligently got rid of his accent. Soon after, he participated in the shooting of a documentary about bodybuilding, Pumping Iron, 1977, as well as several lesser-known films. During this period, Schwarzenegger was generally satisfied with his life, but at the same time felt that he lacked self-confidence. Then a friend taught him transcendental meditation, and in a couple of weeks, Arnold acquired the skill of complete relaxation and quieting the mind, focusing and calming down. For a whole year, he practiced meditation daily and then felt that he no longer needed it. He learned not to stack problems on top of each other, but to deeply focus on solving them. Success followed actor Schwarzenegger after the release of the movie Conan the Barbarian, 1982, and its sequel, Conan the Destroyer, 1984. The image of an invincible ancient warrior who battles black magicians, tames wild beasts, and conquers women appealed to the public, and Schwarzenegger was finally perceived as a superstar. And although some critics described him as a boring pile of meat with a sharp sword, for many young people he became an idol. And when the sci-fi action movie The Terminator, 1984 came out, the striking image of a cyborg assassin from the future was so memorable that the word Terminator became a common noun. Schwarzenegger firmly established himself as a silent and strong hero in action and sci-fi movies, and it was in these types of roles that he appeared before the public in successful films such as Commando, 1985, The Running Man, 1987, Predator, 1987, Red Heat in 1988, and Total Recall, 1990. However, over time, the image of a silent, muscular pile began to weigh Arnold down. He wanted to prove that he was capable as an actor and capable of more. With this goal in mind, he started appearing in comedies and was just as natural in them. His first comedy with Arnold Schwarzenegger was the film Twins, 1988, where his partner was the brilliant Danny DeVito. Interestingly, Arnold completely waived his fee for participating in this film. His moral satisfaction from the opportunity to show himself in a new light was so great. Next came equally successful comedies such as Kindergarten Cop, 1990, True Lies, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, 1994. The film earned the actor 2 Golden Globe Awards for Best Dance and Best Kiss. Junior, starring Danny DeVito and Emma Thompson, 1995. The film received a nomination for a Golden Globe for Best Actor. And Jingle All the Way, starring James Belushi, 1996. In the film Last Action Hero in 1993, Schwarzenegger brilliantly played a parody of himself and also debuted as a producer. In the action movies filmed in the 90s, his acting began to show a subtle sense of humor and self-irony, which made his characters much more vivid. This was especially true for his portrayal of the good robot in the movie Terminator 2, Judgment Day, 1991. According to many, this was the brightest film in the series, and it earned the actor an MTV Movie Award for Best Male Performance and a Saturn Award for Career Achievement. Arnold's quotes like, "Hasta la vista, baby," and "I'll be back," became famous all over the world. Schwarzenegger became an absolute favorite of the public and critics, and newspapers called him the most famous immigrant who overcame his thick Austrian accent and broke out of the unimpressive world of bodybuilding to become the brightest star of the international film industry in the 90s. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, several more films were released, including End of Days, 1999, The Sixth Day, 2000, and Collateral Damage, 2002, and although they were generally received more moderately, the actor's performance still stood out for its vividness and depth. In 2003, the long-awaited sequel, Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines, was released, breaking box office records. After that, 56-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger announced his retirement from the film industry and the beginning of his career in politics. Even in the fourth Terminator, Terminator Salvation, 2009, only a digital image of the actor was used, and only briefly. An exception was made for filming a scene in Sylvester Stallone's 2010 film, The Expendables, which miraculously managed to coincide with his work as governor of California. The Expendables featured a truly unique, star-studded cast including Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Dolph Lundgren, Mickey Rourke, Jet Li, Bruce Willis, and others. After finishing his term as governor in January 2011, Schwarzenegger was inundated with new scripts and offers to act, including requests for a new Terminator film and remakes of Predator and The Running Man. However, he first agreed to voice the main character in the animated series The Governator, and later appeared in a small role in the action film The Expendables 2, 2012. In 2015, a new film from the Terminator series, Terminator Genesis, was released. The film's action shifts multiple times from one time period to another, and the titular character appears before the audience at different ages. Therefore, in addition to Arnold Schwarzenegger's participation, actor Brett Azar played the role of the young Terminator in some scenes, with the young Arnold's face digitally imposed on top of his own. Emilia Clarke played the role of Sarah Connor. In spring 2017, the premiere of the movie Aftermath took place, in which Arnold Schwarzenegger once again radically changed his acting role. The film is based on real events, the case of Vitaly Kaloyev, and tells the story of a collision between a passenger and a cargo plane over Lake Boden. Schwarzenegger played the tragic role of a husband and father who lost his family in the disaster and decided to take revenge on the culprit. Critics generally received his performance positively, stating that Schwarzenegger is highly convincing playing an unimaginably sad man. His character loses both his closest loved ones in a split second and consequently loses his sense of purpose. Schwarzenegger's noticeable power creates an interesting contrast to the helplessness of his character, who can do nothing to bring his wife and daughter back. The political career of Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a member of the Republican Party in the United States, which is not typical for the entertainment industry, where most representatives support the Democrats. At the same time, his views can be considered centrist because on many issues they are more liberal than those of classic Republicans. In particular, he is against banning abortion and was negative about the war in Iraq. In addition, Schwarzenegger is a consistent supporter of the Kyoto Protocol to limit greenhouse gas emissions, and also advocates for free research on the use of stem cells.
In 2003, the actor was elected as the governor of California and became the first governor of an American state born outside of the U.S. since 1862. He was undoubtedly the most well-known and popular figure among the many candidates for the position. But on the other hand, he had absolutely no experience in public policy. The pre-election campaign was intense. The press dubbed Schwarzenegger the Governator, combining the words governor and Terminator, called him the running man, and even jokingly compared his gubernatorial campaign to the filming of Terminator 4, Candidate Uprising, in analogy with the movie Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. During one of his pre-election speeches, the aspiring politician was pelted with eggs, to which he calmly and humorously remarked, "Too bad they didn't add bacon." 5 days before the election, Schwarzenegger's opponents launched a black PR campaign against him, and 6 women immediately came forward with allegations of sexual misconduct. By the day of the election, the number of women had risen to 15, and the candidate's rating had significantly dropped. Incumbent Governor Gray Davis said that Arnold Schwarzenegger must respond to these allegations in detail and not resort to evasive statements and half-denials. In response to this, the actor apologized to anyone he may have offended and remarked, "Isn't it strange that all these women suddenly demanded apologies 3 or 4 days before the election?" His former co-stars, such as Linda Hamilton and Jamie Lee Curtis, spoke out in support of his moral character, and the public believed in the Terminator's innocence. After being appointed to his post, he hired a private investigator to investigate these fabricated accusations. Schwarzenegger took office as the governor of California after the recall of the previous governor, Gray Davis, during a time when the state was facing financial and energy crises. He immediately began fighting to reduce spending, and specifically refused to take his own gubernatorial salary of $175,000 per year. He was re-elected to the position in 2006. As a Republican at the beginning of his political career, Schwarzenegger was opposed to same-sex marriage. However, after a large public debate, he changed his mind and began advocating for their universal recognition and registration. His famous phrase, "I swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and the prohibition against same-sex marriage contradicts it," had a broad public resonance and later contributed to the legalization of same-sex marriage throughout the United States. Overcoming the economic crisis proved to be extremely difficult as the public resisted all proposed austerity measures. Attempts to raise taxes failed in a referendum, and labor unions revolted against the idea of reducing the number of civil servants. Approving the budget for each year was a challenging process, and the global crisis of 2008 hit California particularly hard. Possibly for this reason, Governor Schwarzenegger's approval rating, which reached a record high of 89% shortly after taking office, had dropped to 23% by the end of his second term. In 2011, at the end of his second term, he left office because the California state constitution prohibits running for a third consecutive term. Arnold Schwarzenegger actively supports the Special Olympics movement, which is a series of sports events for children and adults with intellectual disabilities. He delivered an official speech at the 2007 World Special Olympics in Shanghai. In 2012, he announced the creation of the Schwarzenegger Institute for State and Global Policy at the University of Southern California. The motivating factor behind this decision was the realization of the need for politicians to go beyond the limits of their parties. The institute works as an analytical center and promotes centrist views that are intermediate between the views of Republicans and Democrats, which are characteristic of Schwarzenegger himself. To begin with, the actor donated $20 million of his own funds for these purposes, and later attracted other investments. During the 2016 U.S. presidential election, Arnold Schwarzenegger supported the Republican candidate John Kasich. However, after Donald Trump emerged as the final Republican candidate, Schwarzenegger announced that he refused to vote for him. This was the only time he did not support a Republican candidate since 1983, when he gained U.S. citizenship. Business career. Alongside his career in film and politics, Arnold Schwarzenegger achieved remarkable success in business. He first ventured into entrepreneurship in 1968, when he and fellow bodybuilder Franco Columbu established a bricklaying crew. The business flourished, in part due to the 1971 San Fernando earthquake and subsequent building and restoration boom. Schwarzenegger and Columbu reinvested their earnings from this business into a mail-order service selling fitness equipment and instructional tapes for bodybuilding and fitness. Later, Arnold collected all of his business earnings and prize money and made his first investment in real estate construction. This brought him a good income, and eventually, the actor became a regular investor in a range of real estate holding companies. One of his business investment mentors he refers to is Donald Trump. However, Schwarzenegger did not limit himself to self-education and studying the experience of others. In 1979, he obtained a bachelor's degree in economics from the University of Wisconsin. Since 1989, Schwarzenegger has held his own Arnold Sports Festival annually in Ohio, where thousands of sports industry professionals gather at a huge fairground. From 1992 to 1998, he owned a restaurant called Schatzi, which means treasure in German, in Santa Monica, but he later sold it. Schwarzenegger's finances are primarily managed by his own company, Oak Productions, through which he receives royalties from movie studios and a percentage of sales from video games, comics, and other merchandise. His net worth is estimated to be over $900 million as both an actor and politician. Arnold Schwarzenegger's personal life. Arnold Schwarzenegger's brother, Meinhard Schwarzenegger, died in a car accident in 1971. Arnold was unable to attend his funeral due to visa issues, but he started financially supporting Meinhard's son. He did not attend his father's funeral in 1972 and later explained this decision with at least 3 different reasons. He couldn't interrupt his training, He wasn't informed in time, and supposedly he was in the hospital with a broken leg. Obviously, the true reason was that there were never warm feelings between father and son. What my father did to me is now called child abuse, Arnold has repeatedly stated. Regarding relationships between genders in his youth, Schwarzenegger sincerely believed that sex was nothing more than one of the body's functions. He was often too straightforward, offering girls intimacy, and many responded positively to the muscular, handsome man. Everything changed in 1969, when he met his first love, the teacher Barbara Outland Baker. The relationship lasted until 1974, but then the couple had to break up. Barbara wanted to create a normal and strong family, and Arnold was not ready for it. In 1975, he began a romance with hairstylist Sue Morey, whom he met at the beach. According to her, the couple had an open relationship. While we were together in Los Angeles, we were faithful to each other. But if he went away anywhere, then each of us had the right to do whatever we wanted. In August 1977, Schwarzenegger began dating Maria Shriver concurrently with Sue Mengers, a television journalist who happened to be the niece of assassinated President John F. Kennedy. He made his final choice between the two women only a year later, when Sue gave him an ultimatum to choose between them, and he chose Maria. Despite this, Arnold continued to date other women for a while, including actress Brigitte Nielsen, his co-star in the movie Red Sonja. If he had told me he was going to marry Maria, I wouldn't have gotten involved, she admitted in an interview. But he didn't say anything like that, so I thought, why not? The marriage between Maria Shriver and Arnold Schwarzenegger was concluded on April 25, 1986. It's possible that the resulting relationship with one of the most influential families in politics determined the actor's further interest in a political career. The couple had 4 children together. Their eldest daughter is Catherine Eunice Schwarzenegger, born December 13, 1989. Christina Maria Aurelia Schwarzenegger was born on July 23, 1991. 2 years later, on September 18, 1993, the actor's first son, Patrick Schwarzenegger, was born. The youngest of the children is Christopher Sargent Shriver Schwarzenegger, born on September 27, 1997. Schwarzenegger has always been a loving, but at the same time, strict father. He would wake up his children at 6 in the morning, make them take cold showers and exercise, and demand orderliness in everything. Until the end of his term as governor in 2011, he appeared to the public as the perfect husband and father. But the beautiful picture fell apart overnight once the couple celebrated their silver wedding. First, Maria took all 4 children from the marital home and moved into the Kennedy mansion, and 2 days later, Arnold officially announced their decision to split up. Moreover, it turned out that the actor has a 10-year-old, at the time, illegitimate son named Joseph Baena, born to housekeeper Mildred Baena on October 2, 1997. She served in the Schwarzenegger-Shriver household for 20 years, and for at least 14 of those years, she was his mistress. The wife figured it all out on her own because their growing son Joseph started to look a lot like his biological father. I understand and deserve the condemnation and anger from my friends and family. There are no excuses, and I take full responsibility for the pain I caused, Arnold apologized. He started financially supporting Joseph, and his mother bought a house for them, regularly communicates with his son, and even teaches him bodybuilding. Since July 2015, Schwarzenegger has been dating sports physician Heather Milligan, who is 27 years younger than him. Maria Shriver has also arranged her personal life. Although the couple has not officially completed the divorce process. The former husband and wife have developed warm, friendly relations, and the disputed $400 million, which they couldn't seem to divide, remains in their joint use. The former spouses and their children now consider themselves a united family again, although Arnold and Maria lead separate, intimate lives.
All 5 of Schwarzenegger's children are adults now. Catherine is pursuing journalism and writes books on psychology. Patrick is in demand in the modeling business, appears in TV series, and manages a clothing store. Christina and Christopher graduated from university in 2013 and didn't rush to settle down with anything in particular, while the youngest, Joseph, is still studying and involved in sports. Patrick dated actress Miley Cyrus for a while, but their relationship didn't lead to anything serious. Schwarzenegger is the author of the book Total Recall: My Unbelievably True Life Story, published in 2012. As an active environmental advocate and supporter of limiting greenhouse gases, the actor became the first person in the world to own an electric hammer, a unique off-road vehicle that was designed specifically for him. Great life of a great man.